good morning, everybody. Welcome, Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Bruce, how are you this morning?
I am well, Eric. I trust you are okay on, what is this, a Tuesday?
Yes, today is Tuesday.
All
You know
day,
what?
I hear. All day it's Tuesday. That's good.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well
It's off
done.
to a good start.
Yeah, I think so as well. Hey, real quick, I want to tell you about Roller Auction. They always have great auctions going on Wednesday, August 6th. There is a government fleet vehicles auction for SUVs, sedans, pickups, dump trucks, vans, trailers, and more. Online bidding has started at rollerauction.com. To learn about upcoming auctions, go to the same website, rollerauction.com. They really have great stuff you can do from the comfort of your own home. You don't have to go in and listen to some auctioneer. You know, Bruce, it's those auctioneers that drive me nuts. You know anybody who's an auctioneer?
I only people that just talk so fast that you can barely keep up with them. That's all I know.
Well, when you go to Roller Auction, you don't have to deal with that.
Right.
You get to do everything online. With that, get what you want at the price you want today at Roller Auction. Time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Smokin' Dave's Barbecue. It is not just the best barbecue in town, it is one of the best restaurants in town. You can find Smokin' Dave's Barbecue off 36th and Pecos.
A lot went on at Dove Valley yesterday. We have Broncos practicing in pads. Courtland Sutton gets a new deal. Alex Singleton breaks his thumb. With that, let's start it off with Courtland Sutton and the new deal, a 4-year, $92 million contract extension. This roughly makes him, when it comes per average per year, the 18th highest paid wide receiver in the league. When the news came out, Zach Allen added a fire emoji to the social media report. And then Will Lutz wrote, quote, "Let's go. The guy works his tail off and handles everything the right way. Well-deserved number 14. So when you see that type of reaction from his teammates, unprompted, not being forced to stand on a podium or being asked questions with mics in front of their faces, what does it tell you about how Courtland Sutton is viewed in this locker room, not only as a player, but as a person?
Yeah, I think he made unbelievable strides last year. 2 years ago, he was, and I don't want to paint with a broad brush. He was much more contentious. He was short. He didn't seem to be in the right place for him, even with his Russell Wilson bromance that the two of them had. Last year, I thought he really became comfortable in his own skin. I think that there was a realization that he and this franchise had turned a corner. He was a foundational piece for that. Sean Payton's been pretty consistent about his thoughts on Courtland Sutton. And so it's not surprising. The 4 years, I think, would surprise some people, but really it's a 2-year deal in terms of guaranteed money. Right. 92 is the number, but 41 is the guaranteed number, and that's what people probably need to look at. But I do think it's a very popular move within the locker room, because I think it indicates that this team is going to do what they can to take care of guys that have helped to get them there. And so a Zach Allen and a Nick Bonito and maybe even a John Franklin Myers down the road, we'll wait and see on that. These are all guys that I think feel like they're going to get paid. And I was really happy for Courtland. And we had talked, we figured that it would be sometime before the season started. So, boom, right on cue.
I would categorize Courtland Sutton at practice during training camp as a soft holdout. He was there. He did some drills.
Yep.
But he didn't practice really much, if at all, in 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s. Yesterday, I don't believe he did any of that type of work, 7-on-7, 11-on-11s. But he showed up. I think that he and Sean probably had some sort of an agreement. Listen, don't hold out. Don't make me answer all of these questions about your holdout. We are working on something right now. We're going to find a way to figure something out. Let's just not have a distraction. If you don't want to work 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s, that's totally fine. Don't want you to get injured. But please just be there. Scratch my back, and I will scratch yours.
Yeah, I think that that's absolutely fair. And we talked about this yesterday. It had very much a feel like that Sean had an understanding, that Courtland had an understanding. He was protecting himself. Sean was allowing him to do it for maybe the reasons that you just talked about. But it worked out in the end. And that's kind of where we're at now, where we're making sure that there aren't distractions, that there aren't things that are testing the armor of this team. You don't want things chipping away, even if they're small things. And I think that, Sean Payton is a guy that has great attention to detail. So small things can be big things for him. And a small thing like wondering when guys' deals are going to get done, I think can be a distraction for him. It may not be for others, but for Sean it is. And Sean's the guy that runs the show. So good deal. Glad. I think Courtland Sutton is a piece. Sean thinks he's a foundational piece. Okay. I want to see him build on the success that he had with Bo Nix, especially in the second half of last season. But we move forward now. And one of the four dominoes has been taken care of.
I'm going to take a selfish turn here. And it's going to seem like that I'm criticizing the Broncos. And I'm not really, because at the end of the day, I don't know how the timeline worked with the deal with Courtland Sutton. I'm not sure exactly the timeline, how it worked out with J.K. Dobbins. I asked Peyton the question yesterday about why Sutton wasn't doing 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s. And he answered the question, and then he said, we have a deal that we're trying to work out, and something's probably really close. The Broncos, as I've said publicly, and I'll say it again, when it comes to PR, they are the best organization I've worked with. It's not a knock on the Rockies. It's not a knock on the Avs, Nuggets, any other team I've worked with. It's just the way they do things. They're great at getting ahead of the message. When guys get in trouble, something happens, they always put that guy in front of the podium. They don't hide a story. Sorry, Avalanche, you tried to bury the Nichushkin story for months and months and months, just hoping it would go away. The Broncos are the type of organization that if they had Val Nichushkin, they would have stuck him on a podium. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. With that, I find it interesting that in their last two signings, magically, suddenly, 45 minutes to an hour after, Sean Payton talks about a player that he has been asked about a guy potentially coming to the Broncos. Less than an hour later, suddenly the news breaks where he doesn't address it at all. Am I, complaining too much about this? Or do you think maybe the timeline suggested that it really just wasn't done? The ink wasn't dry just yet, metaphorically speaking, on the agreement.
Well, he even pointed to it being basically done yesterday in his remarks. I mean, he even referred to it, sometime on Monday, which it was Monday.
But the same thing happened with Dobbins. It's almost as if.
Yeah, I just think that's his way.
No, hold on a second. I think it's the Bronco way. And again, it's going to sound like it sounds like I'm being nitpicky, and it's going to sound like that I'm complaining. For the Broncos, it is a priority to give news to their favorite national reporters. Now, I think Mike Kalisz actually broke this story, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, wait. I thought it was Pelissero who broke this story.
I thought it was Mike, but I don't totally keep track of those things. So
either way, I just wish it would be buttoned up a little bit more so we can have an announcement. Again, it sounds like we're being, self-indulgent by saying, just announce it right there instead of waiting to give that story, and then we got to talk about it the next day. I don't know. I just had to get that out there. With that, Sean Payton said this about signing players in general. like he did with his non-drafted players like Sutton and Bowles. He said, we can aspire to have a great culture, but if we don't sign the right players, it's going to be difficult to impossible. I'm going to take Justin Simmons out of the equation because I think Justin was a money move as much as anything else. Agreed. Clearly a great locker room guy, culture guy, so on and so forth. Jerry Jeudy was not that guy. They believe that Sutton is a good culture guy. They believe that Bowles is a good culture guy. What were some of the reasons, do you think, they kept Sutton? Why they gave him the deal? Why is he a good culture guy? Other things. And give me a reason why maybe they shouldn't have given him this deal, unless you believe 100% they should have given him this deal.
I don't have a problem, and I've said this from the beginning. A 2-year deal didn't bother me. Anything beyond that, I thought was questionable.
He's playing up until the age of 35 with this deal. It's a 5-year deal, but to your point, the devils are in the details. How many years are guaranteed? If the first 2 years are guaranteed and that's it, then if there's no guaranteed money year 3, 4, and 5, then that's the deal, I guess, that you want.
I think clearly there is a trust of the player. Peyton loves to use that kind of phraseology when he's talking. I know the player, and I think that he likes what he knows about Courtland Sutton. He likes the IQ. He likes the work ethic. He likes the performance. I think he likes the leadership. I think he's a guy that's very widely respected in the locker room. He's a guy that's been through it, like Garrett Bowles has, different kinds of guys, but like Garrett Bowles has, a guy that's endured and that has played through, that has been available through some very difficult times in the Broncos' recent history. And that type of stuff, I think if you are continuing to swim upstream with the team through all of those times, I think it does give you credibility, and it does give you some trust built with the head coach. You're 3 years into this thing. Sean Payton knows who his guys are. Courtland Sutton is clearly one of Sean Payton's guys now. I think that's fairly clear.
Sean Payton brought back a 4-year captain. He brought back a guy who the quarterback, Bo Nix, likes a lot, depends on a lot. Those are 2 reasons why. Here is the 3rd reason, and here is a quote from Troy Franklin, in which he said this to the Denver Post. Talking about Sutton, he brings, I don't know if it's the right word, but like security for the group. We're all young in the room, but we can lean on Court if we need any advice. We can watch what he does on the field, off the field, things like that. When I hear a quote like that, I am not suggesting for 1 minute that the young wide receiver room could not survive without Courtland Sutton, but he's the mother duck. When you see ducks crossing the street, you see the mama duck and all the little baby chicks behind it. The wide receiver room, they're the baby chicks. So who's going to get them across the street if the mother duck isn't there? And I'm not saying they couldn't survive, but like you need J.K. Dobbins in the running back room. If you really want to foster the growth of your young wide receiver room, it's important to pay for that leadership, even if the production isn't at the highest of high levels. So I think there's a balance there. He brings a lot of different things to the equation. It's not just he caught 30 passes on 3rd down and 27 of them went for 1st down. I think it's much bigger than that. You got to look at through a more of a macro lens on why you bring him back instead of just simply what's on the back of a bubblegum card.
Although it somewhere near the top of the list, performance has got to be there, right?
Well, I'll give you an example where performance has to be there. Brian Dawkins is considered one of the greatest leaders in NFL history. He is revered for his leadership. His play is Hall of Fame caliber as well. After all, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
But how do you lead if you're not on the field? Brian Dawkins, it was tough for him to be a leader in Denver because he wasn't on the field that much. And to your point, you want your leaders to be your best players in theory. That's why they've hit a home run with a Bo Nix.
Yep.
That's why they've hit a home run with a silent assassin in Pat Surtain, who doesn't say a lot, but certainly is a terrific leader.
Yes, absolutely. It's a nice thing when you have all of the, I'm going to say intangibles, but actually they're pretty tangible when you stop to think about it. But when you have all of the elements that we've talked about, but at the top of it is you're coming off a 1,000-yard receiving season and you've scored 18 touchdowns in the last 2 years. So there's still a level of production that is very beneficial for this football team. And you talked about the level of trust that he has with Bo Nix. Obviously, that's something that you hope that you can build on. And you hope that he can continue to bring along the rest of that room. The remarks from Troy Franklin are telling, and I think they're accurate. And I think that you can sense that. I'm not saying that Courtland would necessarily be a guy that they defer to, but it is a guy that they can lean on, and a guy that's been through it and that understands some of the things that maybe they're trying to figure out. Those are all very valuable things. It's called experience. And I think that he still has more to give, which is the reason he's getting $41 million over the next 2 years.
I think back to the year that he was drafted, and the browbeating that Emmanuel Sanders gave him publicly.
Yep.
And now look at where Courtland Sutton is today. Now he is in the leadership role. And I think that's kind of cool. With that, if they, let's say for the sake of argument, they don't have Bo Nix, that they are still searching for a quarterback like they did with Keenum and Flacco and so on and so forth. Would it have made sense to bring back Courtland Sutton?
Wow.
Because I think
that's a hell of an absence. I mean, let me just say this. If they hadn't had Bo Nix and the quarterback situation was similar to that of the last 9 years or the 8 years that preceded it, probably not. But Bo Nix has been probably a strong, I don't want to say saving grace for Courtland Sutton, but I don't know where Courtland Sutton would have been mentally. I'm not going to say that he was malcontent, but he was not the easiest guy to get along with as recently as a couple of years ago. I mean, he had some moments. He had, he wasn't the gregarious, warm guy that he had been in the locker room for. Well, and I understand why. So, I mean, you're asking me this hypothetical that there's no Bo Nix. I don't know where that would have gone. I know one thing. He turned another corner last year, and things turned out extremely well. And they did in large part because Bo Nix was the quarterback. I mean, let's give the credit. It's not to say that Courtland Sutton hasn't had good years without Bo Nix. He has. But I think arguably, last year was his best year.
Well, I understand how he feels. He came in as a rookie with Bradley Chubb, who's considered, and who else? And Josie Jewell was part of that draft class as well. Yeah. They thought that they were the future of this team. So you come in wide-eyed as a rookie, feeling that you are going to make a difference. And then the team doesn't make the playoffs for all of these years. I can understand why you're unhappy about that if you're a player. I specifically understand why you're unhappy if you are a wide receiver, when pretty much every year you have a new quarterback, and at least every other year you have a new head coach, and you also have a new offensive coordinator. I can understand why he would get disillusioned. I can understand why he's in a bad mood. Now you can make the case, well, dude, just be a professional. he's human too. You get tired of the losing. You get tired of the change. You get tired of being a dependent position where you can't depend on your quarterback to get you the ball with any consistency. I understand why he felt the way that he did. Who did he take it out on? In a lot of ways, he took it out on the media. But now he finally has a quarterback, and we're seeing what those numbers could be for him. Look at Demaryius Thomas. What did he really do statistically with Tim Tebow?
Yeah.
Kyle Orton, not a lot. What did he do with a better quarterback in Peyton Manning? A lot. I've said this to you before, and I've said it to other people. Demaryius Thomas said to me, and this is a quote, it's not a paraphrase. He said, my career would be nothing without Peyton Manning. And I stood there, and I'm like, wow, you have totally just put yourself down. You're a great wide receiver. And he was a great wide receiver. But the numbers didn't reflect it until Manning got there. And now with Courtland Sutton, he has a quarterback that can help him put up numbers.
Yes, no question about it. And
by the way, his salary is going to be dependent on those numbers as well.
I think he's being paid a fair wage. I mean,
no, I'm saying in the past.
Right.
Saying,
oh, yeah, absolutely.
Listen, of course he's being paid a fair wage, but if he had Peyton Manning for 3 years, you think he'd be signing for $23 million a year?
No.
He'd be signing for like $35 million a year.
Sure. Yeah.
That's where he's upset. I get it, don't you?
Timing is everything, right?
Yep.
It really is. I mean, it's taken this long. And that's why guys like Bowles and Sutton, for me, kind of have a badge of courage because they've been there through a lot, and they've stuck it out, and they've continued to thrive. And both of them have made themselves into very key guys on a football team and in a franchise that's very much on the rise, in part because of what they bring to the table, their ability, their experience, their knowledge, all of the things that come with it. It's pretty good stuff.
Do you think that this is any indication of how Peyton and Peyton feel about their young room of wide receivers? Meaning, we all believe Vele eventually is going to jump to be the number one guy, at least as we stand here right now. Does the contract suggest Vele isn't there yet? Or Franklin isn't there yet? Or Mims isn't there yet?
No, to me, it doesn't suggest it, although I would say that none of them are there yet. Right. I think they're all getting closer, but I think this is more along the lines of you're coming off a good year, you're good for the room, yes, but you're good with Bo Nix too. I think, and Bo Nix, his preferred number is 14. The guy that he wants to go to is 14. He trusts 14 to go out and get what he needs, particularly on third down. He's been good. Now, I think Evan Engram could be that kind of guy this year. I'm not saying it'll be any less of Courtland Sutton, but now you have another guy that comes in that gives you some other dimensions as well. I think it'll all be good for Bo Nix and the Broncos, but those guys are coming. We have seen Troy Franklin take I'm not going to go quantum leap, but he has taken a pretty large step forward. We're just starting to see the surface on Mims, who I think can be he's already proven that he can be a valuable player. Vele, we're very bullish on for the right reasons, made one of the best catches at practice yesterday, a deep one along the sideline. And then Pat Bryant is a guy that you can tell Sean Payton has an affinity for. A very willing blocker, very physical at the line of scrimmage, a guy that catches the ball when it's in his radius, a guy that runs good routes. So I think that that room is moving upwards.
Coming up after the break, we are 3 full days into training camp. Is it time to start really worrying about the depth at inside linebacker? That's next.
Spice up your next night out at Nola Jane and Lodo. Authentic Cajun cuisine like andouille sausage gumbo with dirty rice, crawfish etouffee, as well as 6 different po' boys like soft-shell crab and shrimp. Come in before or after a game at Ball Arena. Host a party or party on their rooftop deck overlooking Market Street during happy hour from 11 a.m. to 5. Plus, Nola Jane caters, delivers, and the kitchen is open late night. Make Nola Jane your new favorite spot to eat, drink, and party like it's Mardi Gras.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a new Sea-Doo, 4-wheeler, or the cash award from the Big Wheel Spin, plus $7,500 in cash. The grand prize drawing is the weekend of August 16th, and get finalist entries every 45 minutes from 10 a.m. to midnight during their daily cash drawing, with a locked-up jackpot of $100 or more. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos. Loose slots, great promotions, great food, and a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch in the DTC. Both locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook is a hangout bar or great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, the DTC, and coming soon to Parker. They are the sports bar.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. Don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corn bake. Man, you gotta try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Ferguson's Heating and Cooling is the best in Denver, and their customers agree. Ferguson's has 165 5-star Google reviews, and here's one from Betsy. Highly professional, prompt, and honest. I switched to Ferguson's when I became aware my former company was trying to sell me a whole new system I didn't need. Ferguson's is an honest, working, family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts and equipment, and they always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Welcome back. Hot Takes. Goodman and Haertl want to tell you about Nola Jane. If you have never had authentic Cajun cuisine, if you've never been in New Orleans, you got a taste of New Orleans right off of Market Street, right down the street from Ball Arena. I think this is one of the best restaurants in town. So many amazing things on their menu. Started off, obviously, with a bowl of award-winning sausage gumbo. But there are other great things besides that. If you like mac and cheese and you like shrimp, they have a barbecue mac and cheese with shrimp, and it is fantastic. Just the right amount of heat to it. The shrimp is tender. It's a big bowl of it, and it is unbelievable. If you like crawfish etouffee, I've said this many times, it is one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. When I talk about it, I think about it. And when I think about it, I want some. So you can just get a bowl of it, or you can pour it over something like blackened catfish over dirty rice. They have 6 different po' boys. Of course, let's not forget about the debris, or I should say the po' boys. The debris is my favorite. I always order it thinking I'm going to take half home, and then I eat the whole thing, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't have finished it, but man, it was worth it. Wash it down with a hurricane. Go to Nola Jane, right down the street from Ball Arena, pre-post game party. Avs, Nuggets, and also concerts. It's one of the best restaurants in town. Make the drive. If you don't live close, it'll be worth it. Time now for What's Trending.
What's Trending is presented by Nola Jane in the heart of Lodo. No one does Cajun cuisine better than Nola Jane. Go see why their award-winning menu is the best in town.
Is it time to start worrying about the depth at inside linebacker? Alex Singleton, coming back from his own injury that ended his season, now has an upper body injury. And this is not a thumbs up for him. This is a broken thumb for him. Now, he's going to be on the field. They're going to throw a cast on him, which essentially is going to be a club. And when you're a tackling machine, what makes Alex Singleton great is he is textbook how to tackle. But if a guy's running away from him, that makes it a heck of a lot more difficult putting out that club and trying to grab the guy.
Sure.
It's going to be difficult for him. And then throw in the injury to Drew Sanders. So now what they have is they have a guy with a history of injuries in Drew Sanders, who's going to be out probably at least 4 to 6 weeks. Alex Singleton, who's probably going to be playing with a cast on his hand. I would guess, I don't want to say half the season, but this is this injury is at least 4 to 6 weeks. And to become fully healthy with that thumb, it's going to take even longer than that. Dre Greenlaw, they're slowly working into practice. And then you have Justin Strnad. I'm almost thinking George needs to start looking at the potential waiver wire already.
I wouldn't be too soon. I wouldn't be surprised if they hadn't already. I think, and Peyton is already. I think on Saturday he talked about looking at that room and the depth that they have or now don't have. Because you're right. I mean, Alex Singleton will be out 7 or so days. Will come back, but I mean, a club is a club. You're right. I mean, it limits what you can do with the clause, right? So, and Sean spun it yesterday in a positive fashion with Drew Sanders that it was a ligament, not a tendon in his foot, but it's still 4 to 8 weeks, 4 to 7 weeks. I mean, so those are very real things. I do think that they will look to bring someone in. I think it behooves them to do it. But we'll see where it goes. But yes, that's the one room where you're talented, but your depth probably isn't as good as some of the other rooms on this football team.
You and I were standing next to each other at practice yesterday at about 10:45. I went on social media, and there was a report that Deion Sanders is done coaching because of some medical issues. And I looked at him like, boy, that would be unbelievable if he is done coaching because of some medical issues. Immediately, that report was refuted before the press conference in which Deion announced that he had a tumor in his gallbladder. That gallbladder was removed, and now he is cancer-free, and he's ready to start the season. And good for him. And it is so wonderful to hear that not only he has beaten it, but typical Deion, he is in very high spirits. Good on him and his faith getting him through what he has gone through, which dealing with cancer is something I've never personally dealt with, but all of us know people who have been touched by cancer and how it really hits the brakes on their life, hoping that their life will continue. But during that 20-minute frame, Bruce, I'm thinking, what is this program going to look like if he's no longer part of it?
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine what it would look like if he was not part of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it has become, there were a few moments yesterday of, oh my gosh, I hope this isn't true. I hope this is, and it had nothing to do with the program at that point. It had to do only with
him,
the man. So that was a little bit scary. No question about it. It was an emotional roller coaster. on really as this thing played out. And it was, I found myself being somewhat going back and listening to the press conference yesterday afternoon. It was really emotional, and it affected me just because of the man and what he went through, and some of the decisions that he had to make relative to not even telling Shador and Shiloh, two guys trying to make rosters in the NFL, trying to do the right things, what he viewed as the right things by them. So, it hit me on a lot of different levels, Eric. It really did. And I'm just so happy that he is able to move forward, pursuing something that obviously is very important to him, but more than anything, to live his life in a way that he has hopefully can become accustomed to again and can count on and depend on.
I say this jokingly as much as anything else, but if I'm ever looking to launder money, Deion Sanders is my guy. If he can hide cancer from his boys, I'm sure he can find a way to launder money and hide it for me. Because I don't know if I'd be able to keep that from my family,
right,
going through everything that he went through.
Yeah, it was he took a tact that not all people would. I certainly respect that. It worked for him. He knows his family, and it was a remarkably selfless move. But it was a move that he decided to make in what he thought was in the best interest of his family. And I just thought it was a remarkably courageous. It was a very courageous way that he handled the situation, as far as I was concerned.
I think he almost took an athlete's mentality that he wanted to play so much. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, you have a broken hand, and hand is pretty strong. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, you have two broken fingers, and you are in excruciating pain, and you happen to be a wide receiver, and that pain is maybe never going to go away, but just as importantly, it's going to be detrimental to you trying to play football. But you're given an option. If both of those fingers are removed today, you will be able to function, and the pain will go away completely. A lot of people in this world will deal with the pain and then hope it goes away.
Yeah.
He decided to have the whole thing removed.
Right.
Instead of going through the treatment just so he could get back out there. To me, that is the mentality of a football player. No disrespect to baseball or hockey or basketball. But that's why you have a line around the hallway with guys getting Toradol shots.
And I mean, he was making decisions like how his will needed to be. I mean, keep in proper in the context of this guy was making what he thought were, and obviously were, life-altering or life-threatening.
I think we just lost Bruce. He is a remarkable man. He is a remarkable man. Cheering for him, for his health, for everything that he has brought to Colorado with the emergence of the football program. Deion Sanders, we are all with you as a person more than a football player. And we are glad you are back on the sidelines. Continued success with the program, but more importantly, we hope that this cancer is completely gone. And if it is, we all want to give you a standing ovation for how you have handled this, and the best to you. With that, that's Hot Takes with Goodman and Haertl. Make it the best possible day you can.